This happy event happened 2 years later in May of 1970. The second happiest day for Dad was not far away in arriving. On the 16th of September 1972, Neil David entered the world, followed on the 2nd of January 1975 by Richard Elliott, who completed the family. I'm not sure where this last event rated for Dad, but I'm sure it was in his top 20. In February 1982, we moved to New Zealand, where Dad hoped to have a better life for his family. Arriving in a country gripped by World Cup fever, Dad knew he'd fit in and soon made some very, very good friends in the footballing community. Playing for Thistle Seconds that same year, Dad and the team went on to win the Bailey Cup final 2-0 over Gisborne City Seconds, his first taste of success in New Zealand. Dad was a central defender, a hard man at the back four, but in his late career found his footing as a striker extraordinaire. Well, that's what he used to tell us anyway. All joking aside, Dad scored some of the most bullshit, spectacular goals I've ever seen. Whether or not you saw any of these goals, it didn't really matter, because he was sure to talk you through them in the clubhouse after the game. Some of these replays would last longer than the game itself. One of the proudest footballing moments we had as a family was when all the Coomba boys were able to play in the same team. The last life-changing event for Dad came on the 22nd of November 1999 with the birth of his grandson, Sabian Richard. Sabian was Dad's pride and joy. Richard and I having fallen way behind on that race many years before. Dad loved every moment spent with Sabian and looked forward to the weekends where he would attempt to put together the latest toy or contraption that Sabian had brought round. The lounge would usually be a hive of activity, interspersed with Sabian saying, "Read the instructions, Granddad." Yes, Dad loved Sabian very much. In fact, Dad loved all his friends and family, and this was reciprocated in full. Well, how could you not? How could you not love a man who in his younger years at a local dance watched a pretty wee girl turn down 3 guys for a dance, and so sauntered over like the smooth criminal he was and said, "I've just seen you turn down 3 guys." To which the girl replied that she had and was very particular with who she danced with. Without missing a beat, Dad said, "Well, can I be the 4th?" And she said, "No, I'll dance with you." You've got to love a guy who can do that. Although I'm not sure if Mum ever regretted saying those words. A time that sticks vividly in my mind was many years ago now, when we got a knock at the front door and Dad answered it. Standing there was an ex-girlfriend of mine who the family got on well with. She'd been overseas for a few years and had decided to pop round and visit while she was in country. "Hello Dave, it's me, Gillian. Do you remember me?" With a straight face, Dad replied, "Of course I remember you, Gillian. It's hard to forget a nightmare." I nearly wet myself laughing, and Gillian was speechless for I think the first time in her life. That was Dad and his sense of humour. Very English, very witty, very dry. Something I'm happy to say that both my brother and I have inherited. Dad's life wasn't all laughs though. When he was 25, he experienced the double tragedy of losing both his mum and sister in a fire. Rather than losing his faith in God at this moment, this tragedy reinforced his beliefs. There was something after this life. All of our family have this same belief, and it's this belief and faith in God, along with good friends, that is getting us through these hard times. We all know we will meet you again, Dad. I love you, and I want to let you know how proud I am to say that I am your son.